East Palestine, Ohio, that calamity, and it's just not receiving enough attention, certainly not from the federal government. I mean, did you see this? We showed it earlier in the show from FEMA. FEMA. What East Palestine needs is much more expansive than what FEMA can provide. FEMA is on the front lines when there is a hurricane or tornado. This situation is different. FEMA, Federal Emergency Management, passing the buck. People are complaining about all kinds of health issues, and we've got dead fish and animals and water that's doing really strange things. You've seen the videos at this point. I'd like to bring in Tammy and Rick Chai, residents of East Palestine. They actually live just 2 miles west from the accident. Welcome to Newsmax, both of you. How are you guys doing? How are you feeling?
Exhausted, stressed, and confused.
How about you, Rick?
At this point, I'm worried about the long-term effects. I feel the same as I did before the accident.
And you, Tammy, anything, headaches, any health issues?
Well, when the fire was happening last Friday night, Saturday morning, and Saturday evening, and all through Sunday, I was having some scratchy throats and a little bit of heavy chest with breathing. But I haven't had as many of the symptoms as some of the folks in downtown area are having, like the rashes and the migraine headaches, and the poor children are breaking out in rashes after they've started school again. So it's pretty horrific.
So I'm in New York, you're in Ohio. From the outside looking in, the federal government has been basically non-existent. The company, Southern Norfolk, they've been kind of snooty about the whole thing. They won't show up for town hall meetings. They say they're afraid for their safety. Is that true? Has that changed? Characterize, if you could, the response so far.
Okay, so the response, it is true. They said they were afraid for their safety at the meeting, which is, I mean, we're a pretty loving, caring town, and everybody's a little volatile right now because everybody's so upset. But you had sheriffs and police all around. There was no danger. So that was kind of upsetting. But so the spill, the catastrophe happened. It's kind of what you do after that. And I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but the initial EPA, the person observing, if you can call it a cleanup, it states that the tracks were laid down, and they used the phrase over potentially contaminated liquid and soil, the new tracks, and they put gravel over it and just started running those trains right through as soon as the evacuation order was lifted. Running it through a still contaminated site. So if you think this is just staying in Ohio, you're wrong. They're pulling that thing, whatever chemicals are through that train. I think the response was horrible. The cleanup, they're running the trains right through contaminated, over-contaminated soil. And whatever spilled is still leaching into that. I mean, I'm common sense. I'm not a chemist, but, it's leaching into the ground.
And the residents were not very happy about that. It was very insensitive and, I think, reckless.
So Donald Trump, I don't know if you heard, but he's planning to come Wednesday. Our hearts go out to you. This is just so strange that there hasn't been a more serious reaction. I've been wondering, look, I'm gathering that perhaps this is not the most Democratic party-leaning zone, maybe not the most wokest people in the world. And oh, by the way, that's fine. It shouldn't matter. Do you have any theories or ideas, or people saying, why are we getting the short end of the stick here?
I don't think people have had time to think politically about that, but I do know people were very confused as to why there was a media blackout that first week when we were evacuating. We were getting alarms. They were talking about the tankers blowing up, which was terrifying, and no one knew what was going on. And we were thinking, this is such a terrible and catastrophic thing to happen to a small community. Why isn't anyone paying attention? Where is everybody? Now there seems to be, we are blanketed with reporters. I don't know, something happened, and thankfully for that. And now President Trump is coming, as well as Erin Brockovich. We're having a town hall with her next Thursday
I think
evening.
also it was, as Tammy said in an earlier interview, everything was so slowly rolled out. We didn't even know vinyl chloride. There were rumors that there were vinyl chloride for the first 2 days. That was what's burning, because we were thinking, steel doesn't just burn like that. Contents of regular cargo. And so the citizens weren't told. And we believe that they knew exactly what was on that train when it left the station. I mean, who doesn't know what's on their train?
Right.
And still just a few days ago, they released that now 3 more chemicals were on that train that leaked into our ground.
That we can't test for in our water.
Butyl acrylate was found as far as 32 miles west in the Ohio River from the.
Did you hear it go off? Did you hear the blast?
We were watching a show. We didn't, and it was pretty loud. It was a movie, and so we didn't hear it. But as we were on our way to bed, of course, we like to check social media, and I said, "There's a monster fire in town." Oh. And then we were up for hours learning about what was happening in town, and there was actually rumors leaking that there was vinyl chloride on that train. But there was no confirmation at that point, and he had somebody say yes the next day when he was at work that there was vinyl chloride, but we didn't get a confirmation until Sunday, and that's when we decided, hey, I think maybe we should evacuate, even though they're saying only the people within that 1 mile radius should go. So we were starting to pack, and about an hour into our packing, our phones went off with evacuate immediately, and we hurried to get everything on.
And so for the explosion.
Forgive me, Rick, I'm almost out of time, and I only have about 10 seconds. What can we do? What should we do? Or is just keep watching, keep hoping, and what should we do?
We need FEMA assistance because there's still chemicals in our creek. I mean, you saw the video of the girl throwing the rock and the chemicals coming up.
And we need to keep the attention on this. We need to keep focused on this. We need water, and we need to make sure that this little town is not forgotten about.
East Palestine, Ohio. We will not forget, and let's talk again soon. More questions for you. I'd like to know more about what you guys are all about when you're not going through this. Thank you very much. To be continued, and we'll be right back.
Take care.